Hi, my name is Kristen and this is Kristen Craves Books. I'm so excited to be doing another collab. This time it is put together by B from Mama Needs to Read Romance, who I adore, one of my favorite romance channels. I love that she asked me to do this because I think a lot of people probably think of me more as a fantasy reader, but I do love a contemporary romance, and fake dating is my favorite trope. I wish we got more fake dating in romantasy, but I can see how maybe it's not serious enough for that genre. I do have a few books that have some fantasy elements in them that I consider fake dating, but most of these are contemporary. I'm always looking for more recommendations. Let me know what you think. I feel like we've moved away from fake dating a little bit. It doesn't seem to be one of the more popular tropes anymore. And while I understand why, it's not one of the most realistic tropes out there. It's not a situation I would ever find myself in, or a lot of people would. I don't think it happens that often in real life. Maybe that's what I like about it. It's a little bit of an escapism. It's just fun. You know that eventually they're gonna fall in love. I do have a few that I'm not putting on this list that I have read because I did realize that there's a fine line for me with fake dating. They have to get together at the right moment. For example, you're not gonna see Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez on this list because it's not my favorite book of hers, even though she's my favorite romance author. I had some issues with that book, and part of it was the fake dating trope in that one. I felt like it went on for too long. They denied their feelings for one another for too long, to the point that it became frustrating. Another one that I'm not going to put on this list is The Fiancé Farce by Alexander Bellafleur, because they got together too quickly. So I just thought that the fake dating part of that didn't last long enough for me. But if you're not as picky as I am with that kind of thing, there are two bonus recommendations there. I know a lot of people love both of those books. See what I did there? I'm sneaky that way. So let's get into the ones that I truly love and will always recommend. Every time I do these kind of romance videos, I realize I don't own a lot of my favorite romances, so I only have two books to talk about that I physically own. And we'll start with the one that has the fantasy elements to it. And this is A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon by Sarah Hawley. Obviously, fake dating is right in the title, so it is perfect. And you know I love a witchy story, especially if you make them contemporary and sweet with a little bit of humor. I'm two sides of the coin with witchy books. They either have to be really sweet contemporaries or dark. That is just what I like. But this leans on the sweet side, and I thought it was hilarious. It also has one of my favorite witchy tropes of having a witch who's terrible with magic and doesn't understand their powers. In this book, we're following Mariel, who is like a green witch. She is good with nature, but her family is really prestigious and powerful, and they're disappointed in the kind of magic that she can do, and she's constantly trying to change and practice. And through doing this, I think she's trying to summon flour for a baking recipe or something, and she summons a demon. And when you do that, you have to make a deal with the demon or they won't go away. So she refuses to make a deal. This is not what she wanted. So he sticks around and the two of them pretend that they're dating to kind of explain why he's always there. And he's very, very, very supportive of her. Her family is a disaster. Her family is awful to her, and he can't stand it, and he is so sweet. And she's a great best friend who is the heroine of the sequel, which I have not read yet. And the third book comes out soon, so I need to do that desperately because I loved this. I thought this was so fun. And it's always fun to see how an author explains how a fake dating relationship comes about, and I think this is a unique one where they're bound together and the best thing they can do is pretend that they're dating, and I loved it. I thought it was great. There's some good conversations about environmentalism in this one as well, which I wasn't expecting, but makes sense as she is a nature witch, a green witch. And I loved her and I loved him, and I thought that this was really fun. What I feel like I've been talking about a lot recently for some reason, but that's fine with me because I love this book and it's underrated and I haven't talked about it in a while, so the fact that it's coming up in recommendation videos lately makes me happy. And this is Devon and Chris Plan a Wedding by Chinsia C. Higgins. This is, again, another really cute explanation to why the fake dating happens in the first place. I love a book that has reality TV in it. I'm a reality TV junkie. I love watching reality TV, so having it in a book is fun for me. And in this case, these two are going on a dating show where they are just randomly paired up, and they have to convince their families that they're gonna get married. They have to go through the process of planning the weddings with their families, picking up their dresses, the cake, the venue, all of that stuff, get to the aisle, and then tell their friends and family, just kidding, we're not actually getting married, we're strangers, but you believed us. So that is a fun setup, and this is sapphic, and one of the characters has a really supportive family and the other is not out to her family yet, and that causes complications, but not really within their relationship. Again, this is one of the books that made me realize how much I love external conflict. Very supportive couple. I think that they get together at the perfect time. They start to realize their feelings not too soon. They don't act on their feelings too soon, but it's not too late either. And we still get enough tension through other complications, and I loved it. So you get to that moment in the reality show where they have to confess, do they? It's so sweet. I loved it so much. And then all the drama that producers would try to make, because it is a show. So you see them go to different venues and their families try to get along. Oh, I just loved it. I thought it was so fun. I actually need to reread this because I think it's genius. Another one that I talked about recently, and we're actually getting the sequel to very, very soon, is Fake It Till You Bake It by Jamie Wesley. And this is also a sports romance, a foodie romance, and has fake dating. So many of my buzzwords right now. And it is actually has a reality show too. So many of my boxes. I can see why I loved it so much. So our heroine in this case was on a show like The Bachelor. She actually made it to the end, was proposed to, she rejects the guy, and now America hates her. But she has her reasons. And the hero in this one is a football player who owns a bakery with 3 of his friends who are also in the NFL. I think it's 3 other guys, or there's 3 of them in total. Doesn't matter. But she goes into the bakery one day. They have a bit of a tiff. They don't get along. But through a series of events, they decide to fake date because it helps him and it helps her reputation because he is well loved. And there are a lot of complications that go along with this. Her grandmother is part of the NFL. It's kind of vague, the details of this right now. I just remember their chemistry. I remember a lot of the bakery scenes, and I remember their banter. And really, that's what you want. I think fake dating leads to great banter, and it definitely was the case in this book. One that I read recently is a book by Talia Hibbert. This is The Fake Boyfriend Fiasco. This has a new title and a new cover. So you might have read this one before under a different title. I don't remember what that was. But obviously, Fake Boyfriend's right, the title. Works perfectly. I talked about this in my beach reads because it is a perfect beach read since these two are pretending to be together while they're on a vacation. They meet, they have great chemistry. He is a famous soccer player, a football player, and he is into her right away. But he has a lot of women that throw themselves at him and stuff, and she's not really taking him too seriously. So he decides to ask her to date him, and he's really doing it because he hopes that they fall in love. And I love that that is a bit of a twist. They're not both going into it hoping that this is just something that's fake. He's hoping that it's going to lead to something more, and I thought that that was really fun. And so we just see the two of them go on this vacation, meet all of his friends, have great chemistry, start hooking up. Maybe there's more feelings there, and yeah, it was a good time. I love the audiobook. Talia Hibbert never misses for me, and this is a good one. You know I love The Holiday with the Wong series by Jackie Lau. This is a series of novellas, and they each follow a different family member. One of the books in that series has fake dating, and it might be my favorite one. It's up there for sure. And it's called A Fake Girlfriend for Chinese New Year's. I love that a lot of these titles really have the fake right in the title, so you know what you're getting. And this follows one of the brothers in this family. In the first book, they all go to Thanksgiving. They've all been set up on blind dates by their family, and it goes terribly wrong. So by the time Chinese New Year's comes along, he decides that he needs to bring a date so that he's not set up. And he decides to bring a friend that he has from the bar. So it's fake dating and also friends to lovers. She's like really into him and always has been. So there you go. It's a novella. It's quick, centered around foods. Some good humor in this one as well, and I thought it was fun. Anita Kelly is one of my favorite authors, and they have a fake dating book. It's actually their most recent book, and this is called How You Get the Girl. And this is kind of a sports romance because one of the heroines is a high school basketball coach, and the other one is a retired basketball player. And they meet. The retired basketball player, her niece, who she just got custody of, is going to high school, joins this basketball team. She meets the coach. They kind of have chemistry right away, but she's really avoided anything to do with basketball, but she's convinced to be the assistant coach of this team, and then we see them fall in love, but they decide to kind of fake date. It's different than your typical fake dating. It's more that the coach hasn't really gone out on dates, hasn't really explored her sexuality too much. So the two of them pretend to go on dates, more as practice than fake dating to convince the rest of the world. So it's a bit of a different twist on it, but I liked it. It's not my favorite by Anita Kelly, but they never really miss for me, and you get cameos from characters from the other books, and it's just a good time. So if you're into sports romances and you want fake dating that's a little bit different, this might be a good one to check out. I have another novella for you, and this one is called Mistletoe. It is by Kimberly Lemming, and it is a book within the Mead Mishap series. So you know that series I talk about all the time. The first book is The Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon. This is a book that falls within that series. I'm not sure exactly. Is it 2.5? It might be. But it's short, but it's one of my favorites of the bunch. It's so much fun. This is the book that made me realize I love when weapons are characters, like it's a sword that has a personality. That's hilarious, and I love that. Our heroine in this one has a family curse, and she needs to go to this fox demon to break it, but in order to do that, he forces her or wants her to be his fake mate during this winter festival, and maybe they're real mates. Who knows? It's great. You gotta read it just for the sword character, because I thought that that was absolutely hilarious. And this is one of the steamier ones, I would say. I really, really liked this novella. I know that Catherine Center is a really popular author. This is the only book of hers that I have read, but I did have a good time with it, so I thought I would include it because I like the twist on the fake dating in this one, and it's called The Bodyguard. And he is famous, and obviously you can see that's something I like. And he has a stalker, and he's going home and he needs a bodyguard, and that is where our heroine comes in. But he doesn't want to scare his family, and he doesn't want them to know that this is going on, so she pretends to be his girlfriend. There's actually some trauma within the family that they kind of just ignore, and she makes him open up and stuff like that. And I just love that twist on the bodyguard trope where she is actually the bodyguard. They pretend to date to not scare his family, and I loved it. I thought that was really fun. If you know of any other books by Catherine Center that I might like, let me know, because I'm just overwhelmed. There seems to be so many of them that I'm not sure which ones will work for me, so give me some tips. Honey and Spice by Balu Babaloba is actually one of my favorite romances, period, but it's obviously one of my favorite books with the fake dating trope. It's a college romance. Our heroine is a radio broadcaster. She has like a podcast or something where she talks about relationships, and there is a guy on campus who everybody thinks is like a womanizer. He just dates around, and she kind of warns people on the show about him, and they end up hooking up. People see them kissing and kind of call her a hypocrite, like, what are you talking about? You're warning us all away from this guy, and it's really just because you want it for yourself. And they have to pretend that they're dating, and this situation works in his favor as well because it helps his reputation. And obviously they have a lot of study sessions and they get together, and there's real feelings there, and I loved it. I thought it was really well written as well. So I think it's something special, and I just loved the dynamic between the two of them. And then we'll end with another one of these witchy fake dating stories, and this one is called Not the Witch You Wed by April Asher. And this is a fake dating situation between a magicless witch and a werewolf. And they both end up in situations where they have to have mates. So it works out in their favor where they can pretend that they are mates, and yada yada yada. It goes from there. But there's a lot of great politics in this one actually, because he is like the alpha and stuff. So we hear about the hierarchy within his community, and we follow her and why maybe she doesn't have the magic that everybody else has. They had kind of a situation in the past, so it's second chance romance as well. I haven't continued on with this series. I haven't heard the best things about the rest of the books, but I really did like this first one. There we have it. Those are my favorite fake dating romances. I would love to hear about yours, what you thought about these ones, if you like this trope, because I understand it's not everybody's favorite thing, but definitely worth trying. And thank you again for your support. I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye for now.